Welcome to Love You Bro podcast. I am your host, Jude Devella. Always doing it up here with my baby brother, Jamie.
What it do?
What's up, bro? Everything
Not
good?
much, yeah, man. Absolutely,
Good?
absolutely.
Man, a lot of good stuff going on right now, bro. Every time we turn around and turn on, man, something's going on in the world of sports in Kansas City. Springtime's here. You know, month of March is here now. Now we've got, Big 12 tournament rolling into town.
Next week.
Yeah, next week. Men's and women's basketball
Matter of
tournament.
fact, it starts Tuesday night.
Yes, men's and women's basketball, which our team is more than likely probably going to play on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But you got Big 12 tournament coming to town next week. That's going on. Just got through with the combine last week. Did you watch much footage over the weekend from the combine?
No, I don't have time for that. I mean, I'd like to, but you hear, I kind of hear cliff notes, if you will. I mean, but
Right.
I mean, it's on all day. But I've heard some guys that are that look great, and guys that are it's kind of it's pretty funny because I was listening today about the quarterback situation, like what the Raiders going to do,
right?
When about who they're going to draft, and there's other than Cam Ward for Miami. I mean, Shedeur, I don't know. It's a weird. Shedeur is a weird.
He's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird pick. I mean, like it's not that typical quarterback where you're like
no. But I mean. I'll believe in him because his dad, and I believe in him. I now do I think he's going to be a superstar? I don't know. That will be yet to be seen. But I think he'll play. He's obviously a smart kid,
right?
And he obviously be able to read defense and do that. I just don't know because he doesn't do anything particularly well. Particularly well. Excuse me. He doesn't. He's not some dude that hit 4.3 at the combine. He's not some dude that's got he's got a cannon for his arm like Bo Nix or like.
Now the Rams re-signed. They're going to bring back Stafford, right?
Yep,
did they tag him or they just re-signed him?
No, he restructured.
Yeah, so they're going to restructure.
He restructured his deal.
So they'll bring Stafford. So they got Stafford coming back. So the next thing is the Sam Arnold thing. Are the Vikings going to tag him?
No,
they're going to let him go. So he'll go to free agency. Yeah,
I think and that's some of the Raiders that good Raiders could.
So the Raiders go get? Will they go get Sam Darnold?
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean that's an option. But yeah, I mean just back to sports. There's just a ton going on. But with the starting to heat up. And obviously NFL's 24/7. Yesterday, the Commanders made a huge trade. And for
dude, how in the world did they get Deebo Samuels for a fifth? I don't get that.
Well, because but salary, there's a big portion of it with salary.
But I thought the Niners are eating some of that, so Washington's not having to pick that whole thing up.
They're eating.
That's what they talked about today.
They're eating some of it, but it's just once again he's going to make $21 million next year.
So the Chiefs couldn't have gone after him and given up a fifth. No. And picked up.
They don't have the money to do that. Jalen Daniels on a rookie deal, so it's like that's how you get to do. That's how teams like that get to do and spend money accordingly. That's why we were talking last week. And sometimes you have to do a salary. Eat that purgatory of salary what it's going to be. And we and to touch base locally here. The Trey Smith thing. Like I said. I don't know if I do the deal. It's done now, and that's the path they're going, and we're going to see how.
You and I have banged heads the last 3 mornings for an hour every morning on the phone, banging heads about this. This is where I struggle, and I mean in Kansas City. And part of this is me being probably a homer, but part of me is I don't understand. I see all these people and all these blogs and all this stuff and coming out, and people talking about we've got all these holes. We got all these holes to fix and all these holes to.
Yeah.
So if I'm a team and I've won back-to-back Super Bowls and I just went 15-1, and I've got a bunch of holes, and I've got a bunch of 15-1 because we didn't play our starters last game to me, and so 15-1 with our starters, you go back-to-back Super Bowl champs, but yet we've got all these holes to fill.
Yeah.
So how many holes do all these other teams got to fill? Because you can't go and tell me all these other teams are just ready to go take a championship next year.
I mean, Philly has 0 holes to fill. I mean, Philly.
So are we just putting Philly in the Super Bowl next year already?
Oof, with that squad, it would be hard pressed not to. With that squad,
because
they're so good at once again, and we've talked about this. And
Howie Roseman knows what he's doing. He's built a hell of a team over there. But they're going to lose some guys. I saw Slay's going to go to free agency.
They cut him.
They cut Slay. They're going to lose Sweat. Sweat's leaving. So he's going to sign
but they're
somewhere
going
else.
to play for Myles Garrett. They're in place for Myles Garrett. So, I mean, Myles Garrett's an upgrade over Sweat, if you ask me. But, I mean, that's a squad that, like, so they're right there. I mean, obviously, 49ers are trying to dump cash, and they paid Ayuk, and they're open to trading him. But they're, that's why they had to get rid of, Debo. And Debo, he had a great 2021, I want to say, where he had 1,400 receiving yards, and then he had, like, another 800 rush or 600 rushing, something like that.
Right.
But he hasn't been a guy that warrants that. There was a little bit of a couple different things I read yesterday and then today, but then this afternoon, someone from The Athletic said no way, but DK coming to Kansas City. It was because the Packers were elite. The Packers were they were negotiating, or not negotiating, but talking in Green Bay. And then someone from Seattle today came out and said this morning and said, keep an eye on Buffalo and Kansas City have gauged the temperature of where these go.
Could you imagine DK with Rice and Worthy next
Oh my
year?
God, it'd be insane. He's the receiver that they don't have, but it's not going to happen. The Athletic, and I think there's two ways to go about that. Where there's smoke, there's always fire. So either Seattle's trying to up that ante. But I think he's 27 and he's an absolute monster. And that would be. I mean, but you go
DK Worthy. You go DK Worthy and Rasheed next year. That'd be an awful tough.
It would be the best receiving room in football. There wouldn't be a better one.
It'd be the best receiving room that Mahomes has ever had for sure.
So I mean, it'd be up there top 2 or 3 for sure. My thing is, I don't think it's going to happen because some Athletic said they're not going to trade him unless they're just trying to make that pop bigger. Or who's going to go after him? But the bottom line is, I would love to see with him going off there, and then Debo, and then. Oh, the T. Higgins. T. Higgins got franchised.
Yes, I saw
T. Higgins got franchised. So that's kind of the top 2. Then you start.
So explain something to me though, and this is what I'm trying to figure out here. So the Bengals go tag T. Higgins, right? So how are you going to tag and pay T, and then also go give Chase the money he wants?
I mean, they'll find a way to do it. I mean, that's
How do you find a way to do it?
Well, I think
Hendrickson.
I don't think they'll be able to. I don't think they'll be able to get Hendrickson what he wants. Right. I don't think that'll be the case. But you kind of, and it's kind of, unless you draft incredibly well, like a few teams have, and you hit on a lot of draft picks at key positions. So we've gone around and around with this. The Chiefs have failed in the regime to get a sufficient left tackle, whether it's even via trade.
Yeah, we missed. We've missed for sure.
And they're just not able to do that. And think about it. And Fish was the one that I love Fish, and he was really consistent. What he did was he flashy. But he was consistent. You never really had to worry about and once again. Not the greatest will go into the Hall of Fame and get a yellow jacket, but very, very good. Yeah. And you had the best right tackle in football with Mitchell.
Yeah.
So it solidified it. Now, what you have in Kansas City is the highest paid interior line in football, in the history of football. And you have 2 tackles with Juwan, which you kind of just got to whatever with him and that's who you paid. Right. You have to pay. Right. And now your left tackle, you're looking at bringing back DJ Humphries, which – that's their best option at this point. But, they were talking about how just 2 days ago, the Rams re-upped their tackle. Athletic kid, has upside, but he signed for a big deal. So it's like that. That's how big the free agent market is on the left side. So DJ Humphries.
Is Cam Robinson, is he even...
Yeah, but he is in the mix, but I think he's going to want more money than the Chiefs are able to pay him. Right. And so they'll bring back DJ Humphries on a 1-year deal, prove it to him fully healthy for a year. I mean, he's 2 years from being a Pro Bowler and 3 or 4 years from being all pro. Right. So that's the best case scenario. I think it's a win-win for him because he gets to showcase what he can do fully healthy and in shape at the left side. Playing the schedule we got on TV all the time, protecting Mahomes' left side. Imagine if he goes next year, but they haven't signed him yet. If they go and sign him and he goes and has a pretty good year to a really good year, he writes his own check for the following
for sure.
And he'll be the most coveted left tackle free agency. So and he'll sign a monster deal.
I would be hard pressed to believe that, obviously, everybody knows what happened Super Bowl Sunday. We got killed in the trenches. I was just talking to Theo before the show, and we got killed in the trenches. Trenches, both sides of the ball. We got killed. We got manhandled. We got killed. No secret to it. But I'm hard pressed to believe.
Hey, real quick. Hey, Theo, what did you think about Doncic for Ant-Man? Would you have done it? Okay. Yeah, that was a deal that said that they turned on. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Anyway, I'm happy the Lakers gave up AD for him, but
I'd be hard pressed to believe that we're not going to see the Chiefs and Eagles. Maybe not this year. I think that's going to be your rematch next year. Because here's my thing,
bro. I don't know. I mean, I think that's it. So to me, Kansas City to even get back to that point, or think they're going to get back to that point, has to get dramatically better offensively. They are. It's weird to me offensively. They're just dink dunk. It's like Alex Smith, and people say it looks like Alex Smith run offense, and that's why they have to get more dynamic, more prolific. They're not a big play team. You look at guys now. In big play team doesn't mean to throw the ball 40 yards down the field and it's 10 yards over his head, or it's underthrown, it's a wrong route. I mean, you look at guys. Last year I said this, or last season I said this several times. Bo Nix connects on the deep ball, and I'm talking about but he has protection for one, to get protection for one. But that's what I'm saying. So if that's why, to me, and I think once again, it's really weird to see where this organization prioritizes and pays as opposed to other positions. So if you're going to do all of this, then you got to take a running back in the second or high third round. And there's some running backs you can go out there and get.
For sure.
The kid from Ohio State.
Let me ask you a question. Have you gone back and watched the Super Bowl? I mean,
I a little bit, but it was so much domination. It wasn't.
It was domination in the trenches because Pro Football Focus came on 810, and gosh dang, I can't think of her name off the top of my head right now. She came on and she was saying, if you go look while our guys are getting killed in the trenches and Mahomes is under pressure and doesn't have time, you could look at several, she said, not 2, not 3, not 4, several plays. There was receivers coming open downfield.
But it doesn't matter. That's irrelevant.
No, but it's not irrelevant. How's that irrelevant?
Because
you have guys open. You have guys open, though. It wasn't like their secondary had a stickiness and they were just attached to him.
They don't have to, though. They're on top of Mahomes. So who cares if they play 3 guys back there? Literally, Mahomes was snapping the ball and guys were
they got killed.
They never blitzed
because they got killed in the trenches. We know that. But I'm saying, had our line held up, we had guys breaking open outfield.
So the highest paid interior line's not holding up. So your tackles aren't very good. So how do you make that jump? Like everyone knows now, if you have a decent front four, Oakland, or the Raiders have a decent front four. The Chargers have a front four. Denver has a front four.
I've heard all about these teams. I've heard all about the Bills. I've heard all about the Ravens. I've heard all about the Bengals.
But you're saying the Chiefs are just going to be back to the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying they're just going to get back.
That's what you just said.
They've got holes. I would be surprised. Who would be your pick just right now, before we know anything before the season? Who would be your pick right now to go to the Super Bowl from AFC?
Buffalo. I would say Buffalo.
Last 3 years, that's all I hear is Buffalo. Buffalo, Theo. That's all I ever hear is Buffalo and Josh Allen. Josh Allen throws for 6,000 yards, 87 touchdowns, and he still can't beat us.
I would know. I don't know. So I don't know. It's just kind of.
But how many times are we going to say the Bills? How many times are we going to say Josh Allen's going to beat us? Lamar Jackson's going to beat us. Burrow's going to beat us. When are they going to beat us?
But you asked me. So last year there was a reason. And once again, they kind of say this, like, eventually you kind of come out how you are. And we were 15-1, like you said, it didn't matter because Denver game. So they won a lot of games. And how many consecutive 1-possession games? So eventually, just as I talked to you earlier about, so eventually you don't win those games because the ball that doesn't get blocked. So it's just not realistic to think that they're going to go back 15-1. They're invincible and they're better than they were and they got better pieces. No one knows what they're going to do. So it'll be interesting to see what they do and how they do it and where people get traded to and what happens in free agent.
For sure.
What kind of draft? But you can't draft a guy from Kansas State locally because he's a local kid and get 10 to 12 snaps from as the number 1 pick.
For sure. We missed on Felix.
Yeah. We don't know that because he's still a young man, so he can still fill a role. Yeah. No, he can still fill a role. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, you can't miss on those guys, and they have to draft extremely well. I mean, this
draft is huge because we don't have a 5th and a 6th, right? We don't have a 5th and a 6th. But we got the extra third round.
And it's the second one. It's a second pick in the 3rd round because they got so that's a high pick that turned into seed. And then once again,
they said they said not offensive line, but in this draft from the combine, I heard that they're big Defensive tackle, defensive ends.
Yeah, defensive. But so with that being said, if I'm the Chiefs, and once again, everyone has opinion. Stephen A. Smith has an opinion. Colin Cowherd has an opinion. It's their opinion, and they have insiders that talk to them. But I watch the same shit that they watch,
right.
So I'm not like, oh, they're smarter. I mean, I watch the same stuff, and I have my opinion. And I think with the line that they have, they need to go get a prolific running back,
right.
And once again, look at the NFL. Everyone was like, you don't need a running back anymore. You don't need one. Take him in the 7th round, run the wheels off to him.
Right.
And then you've seen what
Saquon Barkley did last year.
But Derrick Henry this with Baltimore. Yeah. I mean, running backs are a bigger part of what it was. And it's kind of one of those things. It just kind of all comes back. And not that people are going to run the ball 60 times a game and you're going back to, Herman Hurd and Christian Okoye.
Guys that can catch the ball in the backfield
and make plays out of the backfield and make plays and be, like James Cook, in case he broke the record touchdown. But could you imagine him in our offense or a Jamal Charles type? And you know what I'm saying? Man, out of the backfield.
There will be a point. I've talked to Jamal. There'll be a point where we'll bring Jamal on the show. Jamal said he'll come on the show. But I really want to talk to I can't wait to get him on because I want to talk to Jamal. Because there's been times we've talked or I'll text him during the game and be like, man, when I see this offense spread and I see it open, man, what would Jamal want?
He isn't that James Cook, but he's even better than James Cook. That when he gets out in the open field and Josh just lobs him that pass, and he makes one piece, and he's gone. He's gone. And Jamal had a nose for the end zone. Yeah. He wasn't a guy that stopped between the 20s.
Do you remember that game when they played the Raiders?
Oh God, yeah, he had 4 touchdowns.
No, he had
5. Yeah,
he had 5, but 3 of them were literally Alex Smith just like flipping the ball, and the Raiders would come blitzing in and bring like 8 or 9 guys, and then he'd just flip it up, or even had guys back. They'd flip it, Jamal would see one, get behind a block, and then end zone. And to me, if I'm Kansas City, obviously you're going to take a tackle somewhere in there and do what you can, but I am focused in this draft on offensive players. And a lot of people, and once again, this isn't gaslighting or this isn't talking shit, but you look again, the whole receiver room's torn down. Yeah. Rasheed's going to face a suspension, however long that is, whatever long that is going to face suspension. So right now, Worthy's the only guy, Worthy and Remigio. I heard another deal on A10, not to stop. I heard another thing on A10 today. I heard another deal on A10 days that said Hollywood's coming back. They said they're bringing him back.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not done.
Well, so I read something, and they said they were skeptical from what he yesterday responded on Twitter to someone like say, please come back, and he did some Saturday night skip and said we'll see. But I don't know if he does. Who knows? But he's under contract right now.
No,
but
there was a guy on ESPN on A10 today.
I wouldn't be opposed to him coming back. Well, there's nothing for certain. I mean.
It was just a guy on ESPN saying coming out of the combine, people he talked to inside Chiefs camp thought that they had a really good shot at bringing Hollywood Brown back and thought the receiver room would be, Rasheed, Hollywood, and Worthy. I mean, the three top guys.
Yeah. I mean, but I think you're putting all of your, they've done a lot for the defensive side and guys they've drafted, that I think they got to go offense instead, a tackle somewhere and then receiver, running back.
Probably a cornerback. They got to go get a corner, right? Would they have a chance?
Watson's coming back, and you got McDuffie coming back. You got Najee Johnson coming back.
Would they have a chance to go to Connecticut KU? The
Kobe Bryant
kid.
They have a possibility to get it.
I'd like to see Theo. I'd like to see Kobe. I'd like to see Kobe.
Yeah, I think he's gonna play. I think he's gonna play in the NFL and play well. I think he'll play at a high level.
He's got a little bit of that swag, a little bit of that arrogance. Like
I said, once again, it's so funny because I go in, go round and round with our Missouri friends and like, KU football sucks, and I go, okay, I get it. KU football sucks. Right. But I will say this. You tell me a better tandem than Chris Harris and Aqib Talib at University of Kansas. Those guys
boys got rings, don't they? Yeah. The boys got rings, man.
And
Talib and Harris.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's it'll be, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what, how it goes down. How it goes down and see what we're in line for and where we draft and how we get, how we go about it, and how we conduct our business. But
I was talking to Theo and to Dylan earlier about we're going to set. I think right now with Tommy from Specialized Printing, I'm going to have you guys work on the hats and drop our merch line on April 1.
Sweet.
Yeah. We'll have the crew neck sweatshirts, all different colors you'll be able to pick out. We'll have hoodie sweatshirts and then hats. So that's kind of what we'll start off and roll out with. You'll be able to go and we'll do a little ad with our link that people will be able to click on and they'll be able to order directly from the store. And Specialized Printing goes and sends, they'll go and send the merch out. And then we'll do is we bring guests on. we'll be able to send gifts and stuff out to the guests.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And move some of that stuff.
For sure. Look forward
so
to
excited
that.
about specialized printing and being able to do that.
Just switch it up a little bit. So we talk, go into the college basketball world and everything that's happened in college basketball. And so something I wanted to touch base on is, after that game on Saturday, which, obviously, as a KU fan, you and I have gone around and around. It is college basketball has changed so much in the past 2 years in general. But the thing about it is it's obviously a squad that had very high expectations, that guys all over, Gary Parishes of the worlds and guys, that get paid to watch college basketball constantly.
Right.
Had his preseason one and talked about how good they were. And obviously it hasn't been the year we've wanted, they've wanted, disappointing. And it's funny because it's like, I look back on it a little bit similar to when they kind of started losing at Kansas. And then people started complaining about Mangino and he was a terrible coach and he was so hard on the kids and he was bullshit. But you hear guys like Talib and Harris, like he was a man, he was great. So now you get, last weekend, you get a report that coach was last year was going to leave for Oklahoma State. He was gone. And he came out and said, smash that. Then it's like, coach is retiring. He's like, okay, I'm not retiring. So they've gone through the year they've gone through, and it's rough. No one expects them to do anything, and it's been disappointing. They have, I think the kids, it's hard. I think it's defeated room. I think but
I think to me, bro, the biggest thing that I see at the University of Kansas right now is we're missing those kids, and I miss the part of where you had the kids that came in. And you had some of the older teams, you had some of the kids that had, been there for the 4 years, right? Get the kids that are there 4 years. But I love the kids that Self would bring in and kind of really start teaching and going through the growing pains freshman, sophomore year, that just balled out junior, senior year. And I remember there for a while, there was a string of 7, 8, 9 NCAA championships in a row that the teams that won were older teams. They're all teams that had kids that have been in the program 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, from Carolina to Duke to Kansas to, UConn to, all the teams. But I think one of the things is Self did such a great job with those kids as they came in, and then he had them for a couple of years. And it's just, we've talked about this whole NIL thing has just changed the landscape of everything with college basketball. We had on Gurley, we had on Kyle Thompson, and they were both talking about it. Even Christian Braun came out on Instagram and said, and I don't know, because I don't want to bash for the kids that are at Kansas because I don't know them.
So but
he said he goes, nobody plays for the Kansas on the chest anymore. It's for what you can get, what you can do.
Yes. And so I'm going to go a bit further into this. So first off, where I want to
just one second. With your swag a little bit, I thought maybe Roy sent you some kicks. I thought maybe Roy sent the sweater to you today,
clean,
man.
though. I know that.
You have a little bit of this Carolina blue going on.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you had some swag or some insight. Maybe
Carolina's struggling too, but
maybe Roy sent you some stuff.
No. So with that being said, terrible stuff came out. And this is sad shit. And this is kind of a message that, I doubt if any of these kids listen, but, after the game, I think that it almost, these kids get caught up in it and they immediately get on their phones.
Yep.
And so I would say to them, even if I ran into one, it's like the worst thing you can do after a game, in a disappointing game, is get on your phone. Go spend time with your family. Go lay up with your girl.
Yep.
Go be with family and friends, people that truly care about you. But to get caught up in that, and these fucking lame ass people that create accounts to go and say horrible bad things.
Terrible.
And I'm not talking just like, hey, you suck. I'm talking really, really bad stuff. It's such bullshit. And it's really sad. And these kids just need to get away from that. And they need to go and like I said, don't touch your phone for 2 hours. Because they're after a loss like that, there is nothing ever going to happen that's good.
Right.
That's good. That's good. And to be, to get on it. It's just like, what, man, I'm not looking at that shit.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not looking at that shit. And I'm not looking at, getting involved in that stuff.
Right.
But it's sad to me. It's sad to me that that's a thing.
It is. And, being lifelong, Jayhawk fans, we've had a lot of fun through all the years of seeing all the wins and the Big 8 championships, the Big 12 championships, the Final Fours, the Elite Eights, all the stuff we've seen. To me, Saturday, the most disappointing thing for me, and not, probably don't have a ton of kids over there in Lawrence watching our show. I wish some of them would listen or someone will pick up and hear this. Throwing the water bottle on the floor during the game Guys, it's just a jackass move. It's just stuff we've never had in Lawrence.
No.
Just don't do it, man. There's just nothing cool about you throwing a bottle of water because you got pissed off at a call. We know our team struggled. The refs have made some bad calls.
Yeah.
Don't do stupid shit like that.
Yeah,
don't embarrass our program and what everybody's built at the University of Kansas to have what we have now, but just pulling some jackass move.
And
just don't do it.
It was just that, you know, it's just made it even worse how, you know, that's went down and how stuff has gone down. But it's like, you know, the bottom line is these college kids, you're talking about 21 to 22-year-olds.
Right.
That it's like, man, you know what? It's a bad look, and it's a bad look for. I wish you could pick out these people, and obviously it's impossible to, of who it was, who these Twitter accounts are, and see how they are, and be like, so your parents are proud of you, or your parents, you know, this is what you, because it really is. It's really, really bad stuff. We got to go to break here shortly, but what I do want to break down though is, you know, talking about Kansas basketball and Stanley's for a little bit, is how we have won for so long, how coaches won for so long. The game has changed so much.
Yes.
And so it's a game now where people hate how many threes are put up and how many, but it's where it is. And so when you have a team like Texas Tech here, and Texas Tech makes more threes than we take, you'll lose 100% of the time.
Every game.
100% of the time. And it's just evolved. And that's where basketball is now. You just got to get guys who can shoot. But they had better athletes, they had better shooters, and it's like
better athletes, better shooters. They were more composed. Those guys were coming down, and I just don't understand. How do we not defend the 3-point line? I don't get that.
It's I think it's a lack of, and I don't want to be a guy's like, I think it's just coach demands a lot, and he's always gotten a lot out of kids that have been there for a long time. You go back today.
Have you ever seen more guys with more open looks though?
No, I don't. You know what? I have not. I have not.
I'm talking guys when we're going over and a guy goes and sets a screen, and then we got two people trying to push a guy out to the floor, and all of a sudden I'm seeing 3-point shooters on the wings wide open.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but from 18 feet away, God, good shooters, man, they're gonna knock those things down like free throws all day.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Kansas and coach goes about it moving forward, about what he recruits and how he recruits, because the game has completely changed.
Right.
And it's no longer the high post, low post, in, out. It's not.
Man, that game's
it's
over.
not. It's just like it's everything.
That's church ball now.
Everything evolves, and it's not knocking. Everything evolves, but now it's just just guys that that shoot a ton of threes and knock them down at a decent percentage. But it's like it's about creating offense and open looks and more of a wide open offense of how it's run.
You know what my favorite part of Saturday was all the we have a lot of cousins, a lot of good friends that are diehard Mizzou fans, and those guys love to get on and put up a nice little post about every time Kansas lose. They'll go and put up Facebook, and they'll attach my name to it. They'll put up the other school's colors or whatever. So here's these Mizzou fans putting up all this shit on Kansas and Texas Tech Saturday, and then they go and blow a lead up by 6 with 90 seconds to go.
Yeah.
So way to go, MIZ, because you made my day Saturday when you guys lost to Vandy.
But they're really good, though. I told you that they're a dark horse for me to go to the Final Four.
We're gonna find out with a little bit of pressure on how
a dark
good
horse
they are
to go to the Final Four.
tournament
Well,
time.
I'll tell you what, Vandy's a tough place to play, so it's not like they gave it up at some.
I'm just saying, Mizzou. Listen, Mizzou. They've got 5 top 10 wins, 3 of them on the road. You're starting to make a little noise. You're going to have a little pressure going on in the tournament. So what are they going to? We'll talk a little bit about Mizzou because I want to know. I asked some guys this week on the golf course this weekend what their expectations were, and of course, in typical misery fashion, I don't know. I'd be really happy if we got to a Sweet 16. That's lame.
Well, that's kind of like yeah. I mean,
lame,
it's
man.
like,
It's lame.
Let's take a break and we'll come back.
Let's take a break. We'll come back.
You got it.
Hey guys, thanks so much to our sponsors who give us the opportunity to be able to bring you a show every week with our production team and stuff. So shout out to our sponsors. Our main one, who's kind of our home resident sponsor, Proactive Solutions. Dean and Natalie Thede over there. Thank you guys for what you guys do. So we'd like to thank Proactive Solutions. It's been delivering infrastructure solutions and IT design and consultation services to clients ranging from startups to Fortune 100 companies for more than 27 years. They are proud to be a Kansas City locally owned and top woman-owned business, offering custom solutions and personalized support. If your company needs IT solutions, reach out to Proactive Solutions at www.proactivesolutions.com. So thank you, Natalie and Dean, for allowing us to do what we do and continuing our sponsorship for the season. Also, we'd like to thank Lula Southern Cookhouse. Lula Southern Cookhouse at 1617 Main. Bradley and Brittany Gilmore do an awesome job here. I know they're events-based. They've been doing some parties during the Chiefs playoffs. But please come and check out their brunch. Go to their website and check out Lula's. Their brunch is fantastic on Sundays. Check their menu out. Great people. They have a great event space up here that allows us to shoot our show. So again, thank you to Lula's Southern Cookhouse, Bradley and Brittany Gilmore, and thank you to Proactive Solutions. Okay, so in talking, we're still talking about here college basketball, and we're talking about MIZ this weekend because there were some guys that I talked to, friends of ours, playing golf, and these are diehard Mizzou fans. They love giving Kansas crap when we lose, and they love their Tigers. But if you're a Tiger fan, these guys are seriously looking at me and being like, I will be happy if they get to a Sweet 16. That's it? You're happy if you get to a Sweet 16?
Yeah, I mean, I see where they're coming from. I mean, I think,
I don't.
Well, I'll reflect it. I mean, I'll reflect it as like Kansas football, and I was excited how bad Kansas football was. I was excited to be bowl eligible 3 years in a row, or whatever that was. So I get that. And, this year we weren't, the KU football was not. And it was like, and I was like, it wasn't disappointing as much as like, cause I was like, okay, if we get to one, like if we get to another bowl, that's a win for our program. So I think from Missouri standpoint, and like I said, I don't
So if you're a Missouri fan, you'd be happy just a Sweet 16? Like if you would just say Sweet 16, we're happy?
As a fucking KU fan, I'd be happy to get the Sweet 16 this year.
I'm not talking about.
But I'm
Kansas
just saying.
Here.
I'm just saying.
You're Missouri, and you've got five top 10 wins, 3 on the road.
Okay.
And you're gonna tell me that I'm gonna be happy if I get to a Sweet 16? I just think that's lame. That's all. I think it's lame.
So as a Royals fan, you won't be happy if they get to the playoffs again. If they just get to the playoffs, you'll be like, no, you got to win World Series. You were in there last year,
bro. Again, you're exaggerating my words way too much.
How am I exaggerating your words?
You just said the Royals win a World Series. I'm not saying.
So you think Missouri because they have top 5 wins? You keep saying this because they beat 5. Do you think they should go to the Final Four and win it? I mean, what's your expectations for them?
I didn't say Final Four.
If you were a Missouri fan, what was your expectations for them?
I would be disappointed if I didn't make an Elite 8. I would say Elite 8.
What are they ranked in the country right now?
I don't know where they're ranked right now.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So you're saying Elite 8, and they're not. I mean, okay.
If everything we've seen, you've talked about them, I've talked about them. They're good. They're long. They've got scores. I just from that standpoint, I would just expect more from my team. I mean, Kansas. I don't even know if Kansas should be in the tournament right now. I know they had some early big wins. Yeah. They haven't had any big wins down the stretch. I mean, I'm afraid to see Kansas go lose. Boom, get bounced out of the Big 12 tournament and lose in the first round. If not the second round,
be the case. Yeah, I don't know.
But if I'm a Missouri fan, I think it's lame if I'm just going like, man, if we get to the Sweet 16, I'm happy. It's just my point of view, like every other idiot's point of view. Yeah. Everybody's got one, and mine is just I think it's lame.
They should go to the Final Four, Elite 8, the Missouri this year. Or it's a failure. That's what expectations be. Okay, that's
your program's never been to a Final Four. I mean. I don't know, man. You've never been.
You get really worked up, and like it's like for me, I'm not a guy that lets that live rent free in my head where I get that animated about it. I'm like, like I said, to me, I could watch and be like, that's a good basketball team, and I'm like, matter of fact, I love those old school Tigers uniforms they're wearing right now because it brings me back to the day of like Chivas and Lee Coward and Nathan Bunton, and.
It reminds me of the old Norm Stewart, his Detroit team.
That was Detroit team. And so for me, like I said, for me, it's the first year. It's the first year that I have. Speaking to that like MU stuff, like because I don't get that. Like I said, I got too much in my life to get invested in Missouri, and I used to always, in like years past, when we were good and we were relevant, I would get texts and calls and like, dude, and they would tell me somebody in the lineup, in our lineup who wasn't playing well, and I'm like. I couldn't tell you who's on your fucking roster, to be honest with you. Yeah. I couldn't tell you who's on your roster to even get that one. But I have enjoyed when they're on to watch them because they have a really good team. And it's crazy that Gates that they were trying to run out last year, he was the worst coach. How could it's an embarrassment. And the guy has built a roster and built, a lot of those kids are local. The kid, we're local from like this, from the area. But you see them, it's like, holy shit, man. Like, I told you, when they were getting ready to play Kansas, I asked our nephew Alex, I'm like, hey, have you seen him? He's like, no. Uncle was like, I watched them against Memphis. They lost. And so for me, I would never watch Missouri. If they were, like last year, I would never be like, I want to check them out because they were so bad. But to see them against Kansas, I'm like, wait a minute. Like,
I watched some of the
weird. This is weird. Like, this team's fucking athletic.
Yeah.
They're bouncy. They're like range. They all have range. They can shoot.
I was one of the first ones of all those friends. I was one of the first ones with them, like early on, just to be like, hey, listen, like, man, you guys beat Kansas, like, okay, like. But I was one of the first ones to tell them, like, you guys got a squad, man. Like, I've seen them play a few SEC games. Yeah. I don't spend my weekends waiting to watch Mizzou. No. But when they're on and I see SEC Network or I see them against Alabama or Tennessee or something.
Because SEC basketball is so good.
It's so good, bro.
It's crazy. It's better than SEC football was this year.
SEC crazy. Basketball is awesome. That Alabama-Tennessee game on Saturday, like I said, it's not that I'm an SEC fan. It's not that I'm a Mizzou fan. We're basketball fans. We're fanatics of sports all together. And it's like Alabama-Tennessee, I flipped it on. I mean, those teams can play, man.
If I'm going to say I would be shocked, I would be shocked if Auburn's not cutting the nets down. Like that team is different. They're so deep,
I mean, man.
Boone is a man.
Those guys, the way those guys move the ball up and down the floor, it just, like you said, it just looks different. You see the way they move the ball around, and it says bam, bam, bam. Ball never touches the floor.
I mean, it's like a mini version of an NBA team, or like I'm like, holy, like Bruce Pearl's always been a guy though. Yeah. That guy's always got guys, always. And I want to say he's been like 12 years at Auburn now or something like that. He's been there a long time.
Yeah, he's been
like, but at Auburn, but it doesn't seem like, because he was at Tennessee. He was like, but I mean, when I've watched them, I'm just like, there's nobody really like that. Like there's nobody, but. It'll be good. I'll want to see Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag is
Duke will be fun. Duke will be fun. Duke will be fun to watch.
It'll be great. It'll be a great NCAA tournament. It really will. There'll be, like I said, I've just said, if there's a team like, and I've watched them enough in Missouri, not whole games, but if I get home from work and I'll switch on the second half, or they're on at work, and I'll watch, not every single play, but enough that I'm like, fuck, these guys are really good. Yeah. It's my dark horse to make a run and possibly get in the Final Four. But it's, it's one. And so I want to go back to the Kansas thing. The last possession, it was weird to me that the shot that they got that Mayo missed, right?
Yeah, but even before that, you were telling me, we were talking yesterday, you were talking about just how bad the DeJuan Harris pass was.
Why they didn't call a timeout and discuss and make sure coach just let it run its course. And so I think to me, I don't know if it's, but we don't have the Sharon Collins. We don't have the Devontae Grahams. We don't have the Frank Masons who would get you into what you needed to run and execute it. There's guys that are, and they're studs. Mayo's a stud, but haven't been in this program long enough to know exactly what should be executed, how it should be executed. So that's why I thought a timeout was warranted, to get your kids in and say, hey, and he's a wizard at play calling. Yeah. He's a wizard. But to let them do that,
especially out of bounds plays,
but to not, and having one, I think that's something. If you were to talk to coach, he'd be like, I should have got a timeout there,
right?
Because once again, teams in the past that you've had, you might not need to do that, because it's kids up in your program for 3 years and know exactly how to.
They just come off a timeout. They just come off a timeout when they got that ball back. They just come off of one. And my thing was, how do you down the stretch like that? How do you not? You've got plenty of time. You're down 3. Why? And they were like, it wasn't like they were like just shutting the lanes off. Why isn't Mayo just driving, going to get a layup, play defense, cut it to 1? He didn't have to force that 3 at all. No. It's just been kind of disappointing to watch some of the games down the stretch. The game at Houston was a bummer. They were up 6 points with.
Hold on a second here. Speaking of our boys coming here, right? Are they going to be in this building next week, a week from tonight, downstairs?
I had heard. I talked to Chef Bradley from Lula Southern Kitchen and Southern Cookhouse, and Bradley said something about the about the Hawks. They might be in Lula.
That's what I'm saying.
In here for a little bit.
Hey, we might steal coach for a minute. If you don't keep pissing them off, we might steal coach them like, hey, run up here real quick.
Man, I'm not pissing coach
No,
off.
I know.
Every Kansas fan's been disappointed. He's been disappointed in what they've had.
He has.
It's
been a tough year, but they might be here next week. Honestly.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
Next week.
We may have to talk to Chef Bradley and see when KU is going to be here for their team dinner and just shoot the podcast right here alongside.
Because obviously if they play Tuesday, they'd have to be here Monday for their team dinner.
Oh, that's true.
They'll put us out by the dumpsters.
Chef Bradley, hey, Chef Bradley, we want to ask you right now, man. You got the Hawks in there next Monday night for dinner, team dinner before they play on Tuesday. We may need a little bit of love to bring some people on the Love You Bro. We'll have to talk to Gurley and talk to Shardo and see what they can do.
But yeah, so I was just thinking about that. I was like, hey, man, we're here. So yeah, if I know they were talking to him. So, but regardless, so I am one that like in years past when we talk about this, when we were growing up as Chiefs fans, every single year I would create a scenario where the Chiefs are making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like Dave Craig. If we can keep Dave Craig up, he's going to do this. If, Thigpen, he's got some wiggle to him. Brody.
Thigpen's got some wiggle.
He did. He hit a long
what was it? Was we doing Hard Knocks? Was it Hard Knocks? Was it?
Brody Crow.
Was it Hard Knocks when Brody Crow and it was going to be between Damon Hewitt and Brody Crow?
Yeah, Brody Crow. But dude, Brody did have a cannon, though. That dude could throw it a
Brody
mile.
had a cannon, but...
No, it was just it was a shit show. But I'm saying, I'm talking in the 90s when the Chiefs were like, they were good and they had phenomenal defenses and they were running Bono out there and running Gerback out there and running, the whole Gannon debacle that, let him go. But I just always talked us into it. So basketball wise, I'm like, and it's funny because I heard a national guy today and he was like, and they go by Ken Palm. There's like literally like 9 teams that can win. That statistically can like be in that, like I think it's like 8th in efficiency, 9th in defense. That can do it. And so they're like, Kansas is not. I mean, and we're not. But I mean, I'll still ride and die, and I won't be like heartbroken, disappointed just because of the year we had. But it won't. We have a couple kids coming back next year, and we have the kid that scored 58 in the high school game.
That Patterson kid, man.
Yeah, and he actually took it to the number 1 guy in.
I would hope that he brings another 1 or 2 guys along with them, get in the portal and kind of see what they do, what Kansas does. But we've had so much fun with this Big 12 tournament here. Another good friend of ours, Alan Caviar. I've always had a blast in March with Alan. Traveling and going and seeing. I've seen some great games in St. Louis. Alan and I saw when Kansas beat Carolina in St. Louis. We were over there when that happened. We won the Elite 8 game to go, to a Final Four.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I've been to some regions.
Dude, it was 2 years ago. 2 Marches ago.
2020, no, three Marches ago. 2022.
Yeah.
2020. But we talked about that a little bit.
That we won a national championship.
We talked a little bit about that team, though, bro. How about Remy Martin that year?
Remy, that was my guy. You dissed him all the time up to it.
Because
he couldn't play. He couldn't play. He was bullshit.
What were they saying? They said he was soft. He was hurt.
Well,
he was this. He was that.
I was like, Remy is nice. Remy's nice. And, I was kind of hoping that for AJ Store. And it's like, but you know what, man? Like I said, I'll go down with our squad. It'll be, I'll watch for the Big 12 tournament.
Live and die, man. We live and die with our Hawks.
Well, we may get bounced early in Big 12, but who knows? I mean, once again, who knows? They catch fire, probably not, and everything's saying they don't have a chance and at all. But I'll go down with them and
it'll be house money, man.
It'll be fun, and then then it's like we gonna do Royals opening day.
I think we will. 27th of March, I think we'll do Royals opening day. And then listen, we're going to work on some stuff because I talked to Mark Brandmeier. We're going to do one of our episodes. We're going to shoot out at Monarchs Park. So on your agenda is going to be getting us over to the Current, man. Talking to your people over KC Current.
Angie Long, shout out to Angie Long.
Yeah, see if we can't get over to KC Current and do something over there. I'd like to get Jillian Carroll on, who is their reporter, their person that's always with them. We want to bring Jillian on and try to get over to KC Current. It'd be cool to get some of their players on and then do something over at Monarch Park, man, just to get a couple episodes shot out there. So I know we're planning on doing that.
At Royals, but Royals, it is, I'm stoked. I'm stoked with what they've done to their pitching staff. They went and got, this year They got Hunter Harvey late last year. And
Yep.
he was hurt, banged up.
Yep.
But he'd
We got
saved
for the Mets, right? For the Mets?
what Nationals.
Nationals, okay.
Yeah, Nationals.
Hey, was he ever with the Mets? I can't think he was with the Mets at one point.
I don't know. He was with Nationals, so I mean that was
He
his
was
most
National. We got
recent
him
stint
last
where he
year.
was really good. But then you got Urseg, who's filthy. Urseg is
But hey, let's talk just for a minute about having Xander Seacrest, man. Thanks. Another shout out to Xander, man. Thank you so much for coming on our last episode, man. University of Tennessee and now with the Twins. But when he was talking about our first round draft pick, Caglione, man, he said Cags takes that whole box up, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Did you see yesterday the home run he hit over the weekend was the third? With they're talking about the power, the miles per hour off the bat, third most ever in Royals history.
Yeah.
That one he hit, that bomb he hit.
Yeah, and we kind of discussed last week about it's a situation you don't have to rush him up, which is nice. You're not trying to sell tickets because you should have a competitive team from
Right.
day one.
Of course.
But if something does happen, and then it might be something calling up. But I mean, how it projects out is he will be a guy that's like a 30 home run guy.
I think so, man. I think he will.
Salvi had, that one year he had 38, but he's just, if you look at his body of work, he's mostly a 20 home run guy a season.
Yeah, 25,
but
26,
he's a
27.
guy. He's a guy, but Cags is a guy that can hit 30 on a consistent basis. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun to keep an eye on him.
I like the Calvin Biggio pickup, man. I like the Biggio pickup.
Dude, he hit a home run the other night.
That's what I'm saying.
And
They
said he's been. Yeah, I do too.
I like the
I think
Biggio
he's
pickup.
great. And he can play multiple positions.
And he's got a little pop off the bench.
Yeah, and what's sweet is to speaking of, and I'm a big uniform guy. I love old school uniforms. I just love NBA, NHL, baseball, obviously NFL uniforms. And Casey's going back to the all powder blues for their Sunday and Friday night, like all the powder blues, like the
On Sundays?
Yes, because before they were doing the powder blue top and the white pants. And it wasn't even the powder blue. They only wore them a couple times.
But they always did the powder blues on the road. Always
but,
on road games.
but now you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And once again, it's not
So
1980. where you're like,
but they're
no.
the powder blues on Sundays.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the you know what I'm saying? That powder blues are different than the ones that they wear on Sundays now.
Right.
It's different. They look, and so last year a couple times they wore those, and it's like a little darker shade of powder blue, if you will, and the belt. It looks so good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just so good. And right now, India's been tearing up, and India looks like he looks like someone will fit in here, and fans will love him.
Right.
The long hair out of his hat, and he's just a red ass. Like that dude can play. He plays with passion, plays with heart. The leadoff spot. Like I said, if there's somehow, and I said this to you, somehow to acquire another bat, and like I said, I'll give their front office regime. They were in for Santander, who was a 30 home run guy last year, and they offered him 2 or 3.
He would have been so big if we could have gotten him. Where did he end up at?
He's in Toronto.
Okay.
And they gave him 4 years, and we were offering him 2, and they gave him 4 more money. But that's okay. I mean, but at least they were not asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
At least they're not asleep at the wheel, and they're offering him. But what I will say, man, that I'm stoked is that that I think they're going to do something still. And like I said, like a guy like Verdugo, no offense and no shit against Renfroe and MJ, but you need a little bit more pop. Verdugo, I think he hit 17 or 18 the year before Boston, not the year.
I wish Renfroe would give us one of those seasons where he could just put up 25, 26 home runs, man.
Oh, dude, you're talking. That would be
man.
everything. Because once again, we were talking the other day, and I heard it today on MLB Network because they were saying like now the bullpen, if you get, and we discussed this, those guys, Lugo, Waka, and I hope Ragans does, but give you similar years. But though I don't count on Lugo and Waka, but if they're even kind of close to there, and with the bullpen where you can bring in Long in the 6th, or if it's not Long in the 6th, you're bringing in, Harvey's your 7th, Urseg's your 8th, Estevez is your 9th. That's a nasty bullpen.
It's a nasty bullpen for sure.
That's a nasty bullpen.
I saw they just locked down Reagans for another 3 years. They gave him a 3-year extension.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Cole was solid. He was solid last year. He just got no run support last year.
No, he got no run support last year. And he lost a tick or 2 off his 97, 98, but he's still bringing 95, 96.
Listen, he was filthy last year, man.
No, and he is a guy, once again, if you're going to a playoff series, I mean, there's obviously a lot of dominant pitchers out there and a lot of great number ones who have way more recognition and profile than Reagans. But if you were to match up, and he did, he went toe to toe with Cole and Garrett Cole, who was a stud last year in New York against the Yankees in New York, in the Bronx, and pitched well enough that he didn't get blown out. He didn't get like, holy shit, he couldn't,
seeing Soto sign that huge deal with the Mets, I had fun watching him like with the Yankees last year, but the way he kind of dissed the Yankees and like went to the Mets, I haven't minded seeing a couple of their pitchers go down with a little bit of, they got a couple of their starters have gone down with arm injuries so far early in spring training. Just because I don't want to see Soto just go blow up with the Mets.
Oh, he's going to blow up with the Mets. He's going to, and I think, you know what, so this, like, I've always enjoyed the Yankees. Our brother Bob was a Yankees guy because it was, and obviously when we were playing against them, it brought back that like, fuck the Yankees. Yeah. But I will say this, they still, and they just changed this, and it's been a thing that forever has been hilarious, is the no beard rule and the no like.
Oh, the Yankee stuff?
Yeah, they just switched it. Steinbrenner went, the younger Steinbrenner went and said, hey, now it's got to be, maintained. It can't be like Blackman from fucking Colorado or shit. So he's got chaw in it. It's fucking all gnarly. So it's got to be, but that, and like, when he was, this is kind of a weird deal. When he was in New York, or when his family wasn't like taking care of them, they kind of were Soto's, and he wanted like a suite for them. It's like, we don't do that. We didn't do it for Jeter. We didn't do it. It's like, yeah, it's one of those things. Once again, going to the Kansas basketball, you kind of have to evolve and be like, you have a suite. The Mets
are like, you got a suite. We're
like,
good.
you have a suite. You just kind of have to evolve, and it's like nothing against mid-tier, lower-tier guys. The guys wouldn't want it, but it's like you want a suite, absolutely. And it was like his mom. Like he got like crazy, denied access to part of the plate. And I was like, if I was Soto and our mom was like, I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. Like, are you, my mom, she's not, it's like, she can't, I'm like, it's crazy. So but I think the Yankees will, and they have to adjust that. But no, Soto's going to be, but it's the Dodgers and nobody else. I mean, nobody's beating the Dodgers in a 7-game series.
Dodgers come to Kansas City. Yankees will be here in Kansas City this year.
But you can already give the World Series title to the Dodgers. It's theirs, and it's not even remote.
As long as they stay healthy. As long as they stay healthy.
But even if they don't stay healthy, they got backups that could start in most organizations and be productive. Everything that they get. I didn't see how the kid they brought over from Japan this year, he made his debut last night. I didn't see how he did. But they got legitimately 8 or 9 guys that could start in like 3 or 4 in most, like 2 rotations. Right. And then bullpen, and it's like, they went out and they were like, weren't going to sign Teoscar, and they went out and signed him, like, and kind of throwing around like just money to throw around, like, oh, you want, there you go, take it. Yeah. You got that.
Yeah. They're low. They've got several different positions that they're really, really good at, that they're loaded at. The Dodgers all the way around the deal. I'm anxious to see what Bobby Witt Jr.
How he follows it up. Yeah. I don't think it'll be as prolific as last year, but it'll still be superstar. Like it'll still be. I mean, last year was historical what he did, but it's very rare that cities that you can say, literally Bobby Witt's top 5 in baseball. Yeah. Mahomes is top 5 in football, and it's the same city in Kansas City. You can't say that about a lot of cities.
No, man,
and I don't even remember the last time you could say that about a city. I think we talked about this before in practice. I don't know what city it was that hosted those guys that were like the best or in that neighborhood. Right. Like you can go round and round, but in the same city, in a city like Kansas City, we've never had it. I mean,
I saw MLB came out their top 100, and I saw Witt was 3. That's crazy.
Well, I think he was like the 3rd best shortstop, but he was like that kid missed.
It was the top 100. He was 3rd overall. He was the top 100. Someday they had an MLB Network, whatever. I'd seen the list come out. I was like, wow, that's crazy to think.
He has 40-40 potential. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he'll ever reach 40. Oh yeah. I mean, he is a guy that like you can say that as he is a superstar, and people know about him. And when you hear, I like to hear other managers, especially last year when they would come and get, like they were like their recession when they had reporters. Right. And that's the first thing they talk about. And like, he's phenomenal. He is like, plays the game. And I've never seen myself a dude who runs the bases like he does. Right. And as fast as he is, but he hits those corners when he does. And it's like poetry in motion, dude. It's just like, I'm like, how does he, and he clips, he just
clips the inside, just barely touches.
And he's flying, dude. Yeah. He is absolutely. And I remember there was thing that they were talking about with Mahomes, and this was when he was, he was just coming on, and Mahomes was like, oh, he's like, he could absolutely run with receivers, and like, he's like, how fast he was.
Yeah.
He was like, it's not like, okay, it's, it's fast for baseball, or it's like he white boy fast. It's like, he just, that boy flies.
I saw also just looking over Royal stuff this week, last couple of days, that Moustakis is going to retire. They're going to retire his jerseys, retire as a Royal. That's coming up this season. Sometime in May, they're going to do that. Those are a couple other guys, man.
Wow,
that shout out to him and Hosmer and their
awesome.
and their podcast. That podcast kills it.
Yeah.
They bring on some really, really cool people. I would love to get Hosmer and Moustakis.
That'd be fun. Sometimes
then
we got to get Low King Rain back on.
Yeah, we got to get
because he was out. He was going to be here or be like, he was so generous with his time on vacation with his family that he still came on. But to get him in, and B-Mac, we need to get B-Mac on.
Yeah, we'll get B-Mac. We'll get B-Mac back on, man. We'll get Low Kane on. We got a lot of cool guests we want to bring on, man. Just a lot of fun stuff coming up. We got a lot of great shows coming up. We're going to move around to a few different spots. Monarchs Park. Hopefully you pull something off and we get over to Current Field and do something over there with the Casey Current. Their team is awesome. Last year they were battling to win the championship.
The stadium is
awesome,
insane.
man.
We had our high school reunion there, and they, Angie said, hey, hold off a year, because we did it last summer, which was always 31 years. And then Courtney, Mira, Conkle, who built it, both Shawnee Mission East class of 93.
It's awesome. Shout out to both of them.
Which is so incredibly cool.
But there you go, little Lancer Blue tonight,
man. There we go. That's right, man.
Little Lancer Blue, But
what was so cool is I'm taking an Uber there, and you're coming across the river, and I was like, my God, you're fucking kidding. And it was just a huge Lancer on the scoreboard. Yeah.
So
and I
cool.
was like, this is so dope.
Yeah.
And I was like, telling her, like, the girl, the lady who owns this, who's a majority owner, her and her husband own it. And, and he was like, you're kidding me. And I was like, no. But it was so dope because that whole scoreboard over, it's like a Lancer. Cool. And I was like, man, this is super
man,
cool.
Please reach out to them, man, because we would love to go do something over there. Try to get Jillian Carroll on our show. We would love to get her on and talk Casey Current. Maybe she can bring some of the players on, man. Maybe they'll come on Love You Bro, and you can wear a little bit of that baby blue. I saw Brittany Mahomes posted a deal on her Instagram when they the new uniforms. I guess they have an all new teal uniform.
Oh, dude, you know what? I would love to, I would love to actually ask Angie Long about who came up with that colorway, because that colorway is fucking so sick.
Super cool.
It's just that red and teal. Yeah. It's like, it's hot, dude. Yeah. It's like, it's banging.
But this year they came out with something new, because I guess they were, I don't know what they wore last year at home.
Yeah.
If it was teal and like white shirt, whatever. They came out this year with an all teal look. Yeah. Like the sock, everything they wear on the web, and they had them all laid out. And so when the girls came back here for the preseason, they had a deal on Instagram they were showing, and I was watching it, and they were showing like all the new uniforms hanging in the locker, and all the girls were like, oh, like, wow, like, so that's cool, man.
So, yeah, maybe, hopefully I will reach out and see if there's, a chance we can get out there, even if it's not a game, because I know it's not a huge stadium, but it's not a game, but to get out there and do something and or bring them on, I mean, they're pioneers in women's sports. They are absolutely wizards.
What that ownership group did with that stadium, building the first all women's soccer stadium there is second to none. Everybody, when there for a while, the Broadway Bridge was down. So when we were picking up people, even on our part of our primetime transportation, picking up people for the Chiefs, we'd bring them by. I'd always drive that way because that bridge was down. So you had to go take that bridge, and everybody'd come in. And I always loved being like, between their ownership group, I said, that's the first all women. So they would be taking pictures and stuff because they're like, that's really cool.
That's really dope. And so, in our reunion, we'll wrap up with this, but when I got there, I got a little bit later than I wanted to, but when I walked in, they were like, hey, they're doing tours. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I want to go see tours. I'm like, I want to go see this thing. And I was just like, from every aspect, I was like, holy shit, you guys thought about this, about how the sun's setting and it's on the, it's just,
they didn't miss anything, did they?
No, dude, they're the slickest people in the game. Angie Long is an absolute, she's a pioneer, and props to her and what she's done. And but it's sick. It's so sick. So I want to go to a game. I didn't go to a game this year. No. I had an opportunity, and I had something ready to have the girls, and we're in tickets available. But we'll get out for a game there. We have the Royals coming up. We have Big 12, and let's go.
A lot of stuff coming on, man.
Hey, we might be in here with the Hawks.
Yeah,
next
we
week?
might be here, man. We might be here with the Hawks, man.
Yeah.
So,
Get out
I'll get with Bradley. Shout out to Lula Southern Cookhouse.
100%.
Thank them so much, man, and thank Dean and
Now shout out to my girls over there being loud, like they're like in.
Girls, can we keep it down a little bit, man? You guys been.
But neither one of them want to come on though.
Listen, next time you guys are loud like that, we're gonna put both you guys in front of the camera.
Yeah.
All right, man. Listen, we'll catch back up next week, bro.
Got
And
it.
we'll see
Love you,
what's
man.
going on. Love you, brother.
Love you, bro.